So good evening, everyone. Welcome to Yin Yoga. My name is Patti, and I'm going to guide you through practice. We're going to start in a comfortable seated position tonight. I am going to choose to come to Hero's Pose or Virasana. Noting I'm going to sit on my blocks here to raise my sit bones up a little bit as I read our class waiver. So in order to make these classes as freely accessible as possible to our participants, we will be using a verbal warning or assumption of risk at the beginning of each class. Participation in this online class is voluntary. Physical activity programs may result in injury, and by participating, you assume the risk of injury that may result from your participation. We strongly recommend that you participate from a space that is suitable for this activity. For example, make sure that you have moved nearby furniture or other potential hazards. If you are participating in a yoga class or a class that involves laying on the ground, we recommend using a mat, or if you don't have one, a carpeted area. Participants are encouraged to stop if they experience pain or injury and should seek medical advice as necessary. William & Mary Health and Wellness strongly recommends that each participant have an annual physical exam and follow the advice of your healthcare provider before participating. So again, welcome everyone. So starting in that comfortable seated position, whether you choose Virasana like I did, or easy pose, Dandasana, allowing yourself just a couple moments to settle in. Letting go of the day, clearing the mind space. Allowing yourself to come into the present moment and just be the observer of what's going on right now in the mind. And then noting what the physical body is telling you, taking that time to scan the body from head to toe, and then back up toe to head. And then starting to draw your awareness to your breath. Just noting today that natural cycle of the breath and where it's at. Depending upon where you are in the country right now, some of us are knee-deep in allergy season, so just noting that. Noting how the qualities of the breath might be different, whether it be temperature, texture, length, depth. And noting that's okay, just honoring that space. Then as you're ready to begin expanding the breath, just let yourself do it in this just natural way of each inhale deepening a little bit more, each exhale lengthening. Noting how the sections of the breath, the inhale and the exhale, affect the body. And just exploring them in this curiosity. And then once you've built your breath to your deepest inhale, your longest exhale, allowing yourself just time to settle into a rhythm of breath today that's going to turn on your parasympathetic nervous system. So for many of us, that is an even breath, an even inhale and a matching or mirroring even exhale. But letting yourself just take some time to explore that for you. There might be a slight variance there, and that's okay. This place of even breath is the space we want to be in throughout this practice of Yin. As we move into the postures, holding them a little bit longer, it's this space of the parasympathetic nervous system that's going to allow the connective tissue to open up. Today, our focus is going to be on the posterior chain of the body and its connection in relation to the rest of the body. So taking the time right now as you settle into that breath to just start noticing what's going on in that posterior chain. Maybe starting to notice our shoulders and hips align. Our sits bones either grounded down into the mat or into the blocks or props or into the spaces of the heels. Are the ears over the shoulders? Is the crown of the head reaching towards the ceiling? Is the chin neutral on the front side? Do you have some mild core engagement just supporting that spine? And just notice as you settle into this alignment how it affects the rest of the body. Once you have that rhythm of breath, we're going to make our way into our first posture today. So from standing, from sitting, you're going to make your way to standing. So taking your time to get there, removing any props that you need to. And then once you get to standing, you're just going to set up a nice mountain pose here. Bringing the feet to the floor, knees are over ankles, hips are over knees, shoulders are over hips, lengthening the spine, chin is neutral. And then from here, you're going to take your hands and you're going to bring them to your hip creases, the space right in the front side of the body where the femur is coming in. If you lift your leg up, you get that little crease in the fingers. And then from this space, you're going to start to hinge from that hip crease, coming forward just slightly. Put a bend in the knees. And then once you feel that crease on the hands, you're just going to take the forearms and bring them down onto the quads. Hands are going to come together, palms together in almost prayer hands. And then you're just going to tilt the chin enough that you bring it to neutral. So you feel the spine lengthening. You're drawing that awareness into the crown of the head. As the crown of the head is reaching out in front. Feeling the length being built in the spine. Noticing the posterior chain of the body. And we're going to include actually even the bottoms of the feet into that posterior chain. So maybe noticing all 10 toes on the mat. Noticing the arches. Move up into the calves, behind the knee, into the hamstrings, the glutes. And then into the spine. Notice the 220 connections along the spine. As you feel the body maybe starting to open up, starting to let that hinge come a little bit more. If it feels right to let the crown of the head start reaching towards the floor, go ahead and go there. We're still keeping those hands in prayer hands. And as it feels right, as the chest maybe and the abs rest a little more on those quads, and it feels right to start releasing the hands in prayer hands down towards the floor. If your blocks are available and you'd like to rest those hands on the blocks, you're welcome to. You want to keep those shoulders nice and relaxed here. Letting yourself just soften into the breath. Noticing what that posterior chain is telling you. Keeping that mild core engagement, supporting the spine. Keeping those feet active, noticing that connection. As we enter our final minute here, we're going to start to mindfully make our way out of this posture. So almost as slowly as we came into it, starting to have that mild core engagement, bringing hands back to that heart center. As the chest starts to lift up, let those forearms rest on the quads. You're keeping that nice flat back. Moving as slowly as you can, bending the knees a little bit more, pressing into the feet, keeping that long spine, coming up with hands at heart center, samastiti. Releasing the hands down to the floor and finding that mountain just for a moment. Noticing the difference from where you started to where you are now. And then from here, as mindfully as you can, if you brought props onto the mat, you're going to release the props. You're going to come down onto the mat, and we're making our way down onto our backs. So from that space, once you get onto your back, make sure that your props are accessible from either the right or the left side of your mat. Once you get down onto the back, make any adjustments that you need to find comfort in the body. So with full awareness now of that posterior chain, we're going to start at the pelvis, making sure that the pelvis is truly neutral on the mat. So I like to bring my feet to the floor to find that space, maybe rocking side to side with a little windshield wipers, noting the back of the pelvis there, and then extending the legs long. Bringing my hands to those ACES points, those hip points, making sure that my hips now are nice and even in the front. And then drawing my awareness now from those ACES points up to my shoulders, making sure they're drawing a straight line. Then from that space, I'm going to take a little external rotation of the shoulder blades. So just like the pelvis is neutral on the mat, they're neutral also. And then I'm going to point my toes up towards the ceiling. A little bit of flexion in the feet. You'll notice again that posterior chain. How did drawing that flexion into the feet affect the back side of the body? Make minor adjustments as needed. And then from here, the hands can just go where they are comfortable. So if your hands are comfortable resting on the body, you're welcome to go there. If they want to be on the side, up to a T or cactus arms, go into that space. Noticing the natural curves in the body and this beautiful alignment that you just set up, you're going to bring your left foot to the floor, knee facing up. You're going to check in with the pelvis, make sure that those ACES points still nice and even. And then you're just going to roll that knee out towards the left side, finding a half butterfly. You may notice this pose looks very similar to our tree posture standing. Noting if that knee or leg on the left side needs a little support. Here's where you could use your block or your blanket. As we open up the hip here, we're going to notice how it affects the posterior chain of the body. So just noting, allowing yourself to just settle in here and finding that space where you keep that posterior chain happy in its perfect alignment. Keeping that mild core engagement. Noting how the front side of the body is supporting the back side of the body. As that left hip starts to open up, just maybe noting shifts and changes. Remembering in this practice of Yin, as we come into the stillness of the practice, it doesn't mean non-movement. There's a subtle movement as the body begins to open up, and just don't resist that movement. As you keep the gaze up towards the ceiling, starting to notice as maybe the spine starts to lengthen, you need to make minor adjustments with the head on the mat, trying to keep that chin as neutral as possible. As you take a moment to just scan the body, is there any space on an exhale you could release just a little bit more? And then as you make your way into the final minute here, just letting yourself just soften into the posture. Maybe noticing how this hip opening on the left side, front side of the body, affects the right back side of the body. And then as you begin to prepare for movement, we're going to do this mindfully and slowly. We're going to take the left hand and we're going to tuck it underneath that left leg. We're going to let that left hand lift that left leg back up to foot on the floor. We're going to make sure that the hips are nice and even before we extend that left leg out long on the mat. Wherever the hands were at, bring them along the side of the body, palms facing down for just a moment. And then just notice the difference between left and right, front and back side of the body. And then taking a moment here to just roll the ankles right and left. Pointing and flexing the feet. Come back into that beautiful alignment as you take the right foot to the floor now. Keeping the hips nice and even. Pelvis is neutral. Hip points in a straight line. Adjusting the foot to find that straight line. And then as you're ready, opening up that knee. Finding the half butterfly on the right side, using any props that you might need to under that right leg. Making sure that that pelvis stays nice and neutral on the mat. So if you draw that right leg open and you lift up that left pelvis, prop something underneath that right leg so you can bring the pelvis back to neutral. Settle in, make that conscious decision. The hands are going. Left toes pointing up at the ceiling. Chin is neutral. Shoulder blades are resting down on the mat. Externally rotating them if you need to. Settling in. As we isolate the right and the left hip in this practice, in this half Baddha Konasana or butterfly, just noting the difference between right and left. So many times when we practice the full expression of the posture, both right and left, whether it be seated or supine, we don't get the opportunity to see the difference. Doing these longer holds, exploring that. Does one side settle in a little quicker? And exploring in that space of curiosity, not judgment. Maybe just asking yourself that simple question of why? Why does it do that? Remembering as the body begins to open up, making the subtle adjustments, keeping your alignment. Noticing that posterior chain. Notice the bottom of the left foot, move up the body to the spine. Noticing the spine all the way up into the head. Notice the connections along the backside of the body. Just as you did on the other side, start to notice how opening the right hip affects the left backside of the body. And then, of course, just as you did on the other side, you're going to make your way through the body, noticing if there's any space you can relax on your next exhale. And as you're ready, you're going to take the right hand and you're going to reach it underneath that right leg. You're going to use that hand to draw the knee back up towards the ceiling. You're going to pause there for a second. Keeping the hips nice and even, you're going to extend the leg long on the mat, and you're just going to notice. Letting the hands come along the side of the body again. This time, you're just going to let the toes just go where they naturally want to go. If they want to spill out towards the sides of your mat, let them go there for a moment. And just notice. Then from this space, we're going to make our way onto our abs. you're welcome to just roll over if that feels right for you. Or you can roll over to the right or the left and then make your way down to your abs. Once you get there, you're going to take your third eye and you're going to bring it down onto your palms of your hands. Left on top of right. And just take a moment here as you adjust the front side of the body onto the mat. So in the same way we did when we were on our backs, we're going to find that pelvic region again. This time the ace is pointing straight down towards the mat. Shoulders directly above the mat. Lengthening the spine as needed. And then draw awareness into your lower back from here. Making adjustments with the feet to find that comfort in the low back. You may want to bring the feet out a little bit wider. You may just want to lengthen the legs by coming up onto the toes. And then from here, we're going to move into a Sphinx posture. So we're going to slide our elbows underneath our shoulders. We're going to take the hands and draw them across, holding on to the opposite elbows, making sure we have that straight line from elbow to shoulder. And then from here, taking the palms out in front. Take the gaze out in front. Lengthen the spine, keep the chin neutral. Settling in. Drawing awareness to that posterior chain. As the spine begins to lengthen, noticing how it affects the front side of the body. So as you keep that chin nice and neutral here and the spine lengthens, the shoulders supporting it, you may need to get a little bit of external rotation in the shoulder head, broadening across the front of the chest just slightly. And then you're welcome to stay in this space right here. But if it feels like you'd like to add something in a little bit more here, we're going to keep that chin neutral. But then we're going to draw it across towards the left shoulder. Pausing in the space that feels right for you. Once you notice that first sensation, pausing. Keeping that broadening across the shoulder blades. Then on an exhale, you're going to bring that chin just back out to that neutral space out in front. Taking a pause here, noticing right versus left. And then if it feels right to come over towards that right side, going there. Neutral chin. Remember, you're lengthening the spine here. Noticing how the shift in the chin affects both the posterior and anterior side of the body. Only coming to the space where you feel that first sensation. Working your way through the sensation, keeping the chin neutral, protecting the cervical spine. Keeping that external rotation of those shoulder heads. Then drawing the chin back to neutral. As mindfully as you can, you're going to draw now, right hand to center, left hand on top. Start moving the elbows out as you bring the third eye back down to the mat. Resting the third eye on the top of that left hand if it feels right. And then from this space, taking the hands under the shoulder heads, starting to tuck the toes, bring the legs back in underneath the hips, and bring yourself back to a child's pose. And make this the child's pose that serves you best here. So if it feels right to reach the arms out in front, go ahead and go there. But it may also feel just really yummy to have the hands along the side of the body. Noting the posterior chain of the body. Notice how the breath might be restricted. Couple more breaths here. And then wherever the hands are at, you're going to draw them under the shoulder heads, bring yourself up to a tabletop. You're going to swing the legs to either the right or the left, or if you want to cross over the ankles, you can. You're coming to seated, legs long on the mat. From here, we're going to set up a Dandasana, and we're going to move into a bit of a caterpillar here. We call this Yin. So we're going to lengthen the spine to start. Getting that chin neutral. If you want to stay here, you're welcome to. If you feel like this is giving you some great awareness of the posterior chain of the body. But if it feels right to start rounding the back, you're welcome to go there too. I like to take my chin and start to just draw it in towards my collarbone, slightly lengthening that cervical spine, and then just letting the rest of the spine curl, imagining one vertebrae at a time moving. Pausing if it feels right, but letting yourself just move through. Finding the spot that's right for you to work through sensations. Remembering as you stay in that beautiful rhythm of breath that's keeping your parasympathetic nervous system turned on. You may notice the softening starts to happen a little quicker as we move towards the second half of practice. Letting the breath be the guide. Remember not to resist the softening as the floor has you. The floor, your mat is here in support. Release any other tension that you feel in the body on an exhale. So for example, if it feels like it's becoming too much to keep the toes pointed up towards the ceiling, just start to let the toes relax out towards the sides or wherever it feels comfortable to soften a little bit more into the mat. And as you make your way into the final minute, noticing any space that's giving you tension, see if on an exhale, you can soften those spaces. And as we prepare to exit the posture, as mindfully as you can, you're going to begin to just reverse the process. So just starting to uncurl back up. Taking your time, nice and slow to get here. Releasing the chin when it feels right to come back into that seated Dandasana. Noticing the benefits. Then as you're ready, bringing the feet to the floor, knees facing up. The hands can be along the side of the body here. Just do a little windshield wiper here. Just releasing any tension that may have occurred in the hips. And then bringing the feet to the top of your mat. You're just going to articulate the spine down onto the mat. Taking your time to get there. Once you do get there, if it feels right, to reach the arms up and overhead, take a little bit of a stretch here. And then draw the hands down along the side of the body. Get yourself set up in that alignment again. Bring that pelvis to neutral, shoulder blades on the mat. Lengthening. And then as you're ready, you're going to bring the feet over towards the right corner of your mat. You're keeping that pelvis on the mat. We're coming into a banana or crescent here, so then you're going to reach the arms up and overhead and draw the upper part of the body over towards that right corner. From here, you're going to make sure those shoulder blades are resting on the mat also. You're going to make a decision with the hands here. You want to keep them up and overhead. You could take the right hand and hold on to the left wrist if you want. You could hold on to opposite elbows. You could also, that's too much for the shoulders, just bring the hands along the chest. You're still getting the same benefits wherever you're at. Send the breath into the left side of the body, lengthening the left side of the body. As you settle in, if it feels like you want to deepen the posture, take that left heel up and over that right ankle. See if you can just direct the breath a little bit more on the left side. Noting the spaces. Maybe from that left pinky toe up to the hip. And then from that left hip, maybe up to the left armpit. And then from there, maybe if the arms are up and overhead, noting from that left armpit all the way up to that left pinky. Notice how expanding the left side of the body affects that posterior chain. So the left side of the mat, hopefully able to soften a little bit more down onto the mat. Where is your breath in this pose? Are you still staying in that beautiful breath you created, keeping that parasympathetic nervous system on? Noticing the body opening, going with it, not resisting. And as you begin to prepare to exit posture, you're going to do this mindfully. So if you have that left heel over that right ankle, you're just gonna bring that heel down to the floor, meet the other side. If the hands are up and overhead, you're gonna start to draw them down along the side of the body as you lift the body back to center. And then last, bringing the feet back to center, hands along the side of the body, just noticing right and left side. And then as you're ready, we're gonna move to the other side. So we're gonna take the feet, we're gonna move them towards that left corner of the mat. We're gonna reach the arms up and overhead and draw the upper half of the body over towards that upper left corner. Making sure that pelvis and shoulder blades are neutral on the mat, not lifted up. Then starting to direct the breath to that right side of the body. Finding that space of comfort for the arms. Remember, they don't have to be in the same position. Remember the options. On this side, it's going to be left hand holding on to right wrist, or opposite elbows, or over the chest. Wherever you are at, breathing deeply into that right side. As the right side begins to open, the same option here, right heel can go over that left ankle, deepening the posture. If you drew awareness to the spaces within the body on the one side, then do it again on this side. So, right toe to right hip. Right hip to right armpit. And then lastly, right armpit to that right pinky. Noticing the connection here on the right side. How is that right side of the body affecting the posterior chain on the right side? As you stay in that beautiful breath, noticing with curiosity. Is there any space you can soften on your next exhale? And then as we begin to prepare to exit this posture, we'll do it just the same as we did the other side, mindfully. If you have that right heel up, you're going to mindfully bring that right heel next to the left heel. If the hands are up and overhead, you're going to start to slowly bring them down as you lift the upper body back to center. And then as you're ready, bringing the feet back to center. Pausing here with the hands along the side. And then as you're ready, bringing the feet to the floor, knees facing up. Gently rocking the knees side to side, windshield wipering the knees as mindfully as you can. Giving a little massage to the pelvis. And then letting the left leg go long. You're going to draw the right leg in towards the chest and take the left hand and draw that right leg across the body, finding a bit of a twist here. You can take the right arm and bring it out to a T or cactus arms. But if it feels right to leave that right hand down along the side of the body, go ahead and go there. You're keeping the shoulders on the mat. You're remembering the goal of the twist is not to take the knee to the floor, but just to feel the twist within your body. Just noting where you feel this. As you keep the gaze up at center, breathing into the posture. As the body begins to open or soften, just letting yourself relax a little bit more into it. And then if you're really feeling the urge to take the gaze over that right shoulder, just going there as slowly and mindfully as you can. Keeping that chin nice and neutral and just noticing how shifting the cervical spine affects the posture. Then if you shifted the chin, you're going to bring the chin back up to neutral, gaze up towards the ceiling. Pausing there. And then on an inhale, bringing that right knee back up and into the chest. Then releasing the hands from that right leg, you're going to bring that right foot to the floor, knee facing up, and you're going to immediately hug the left knee in. Letting the right leg go long. You're going to take the right hand and draw that left knee across the body. You're going to make a decision what you're doing with that left hand. We're doing the same thing on this side. So You're going to get a moment to just settle in. You're keeping that left shoulder on the mat. You're keeping the gaze up at the ceiling. Keeping your breath in that beautiful space of that parasympathetic nervous system. Honoring the differences between your right and your left side. So finding the space that feels right for this left side first. Couple more breaths here. And then noticing if it feels like you need to take the gaze over that left shoulder, mindfully keeping that chin neutral, drawing the gaze over the left shoulder. If you decided to move into the space, maybe noticing how the shift in the cervical spine affects the whole posterior chain of the body. Just a couple more breaths here. And then on an inhale, you're going to bring that chin back up to neutral, gaze up towards the ceiling. Pause. And then drawing that knee back up to center, you're going to hug that knee into the chest. Releasing that left foot to the floor, knee facing up. You're going to extend the leg long. And you're going to settle into your Shavasana here. Coming into relaxation posture, allowing yourself the time to just wiggle on the mat a little bit. Noticing the shifts and changes maybe in the posterior chain of your body. And then drawing your awareness back to your breath. Knowing that all your hard work is done as we settle into Shavasana, knowing this is the space we come to integrate in your full practice. Probably the most important pose of our practice. So taking the time here to allow yourself to just be. Beginning to notice your breath. Allowing yourself, when you're ready, to start to deepen your inhales and lengthen your exhales. Noticing as you add more breath, more energy, more prana into the body, the subtle movement that your body may be calling to make. So it may be a wiggle of fingers or toes, it may be rolling wrists or ankles, maybe a gentle shrug of shoulders or rock of the head on the mat. letting this natural, subtle movement come in as your body calls for it, beginning to deepen and increase it also as the body calls for it. As you're ready, on a deep inhale, take a full body stretch, feeling into the benefits of practice, maybe reaching a little more with the right and then the left. And then once you're finished stretching, allow yourself to roll to the right side, coming into this little yoga egg, this fetal position, this space of new beginnings. Taking just a moment of gratitude here to yourselves for making this act of self-care a priority today. Then drawing awareness into the left hand, you're going to spread the fingers nice and wide, and you're going to let that hand float down to the floor mat in front of you. As that hand settles in, and you're ready to press a little weight into that hand, come on up to a comfortable seated position. If you're comfortable with meeting me with hands at heart center, I welcome you to do so. I thank you all for the privilege of guiding you through your yin practice this week. I hope the benefits of practice follow you into this week ahead. May you all be happy, may you be safe, may you walk this earth always in loving kindness, at peace, good health, and always at ease. From my heart to all of your hearts, Namaste, yogis. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. I look forward to seeing you all soon